So in the last video we made this effect, which is like a hero one, and if you go down, this is what we will be making today, which opens a door or kind of like a window. When you scroll down, if you go up, it will close it basically. And also for the vertical option, we will do this one, you can see. And this is actually a part of my template, a paid template, which is going to be available in the description that you would get, and it would contain like all of this stuff. You could see this is a landing page template, and all of these videos would also be made if you want to make it from scratch without getting the template. So you could see this is based on scroll, and then this is also going to be available, all of these effects, okay. And then the button effect too, it fills from wherever your mouse is. Now you would be able to get this template from my website. It would be called number 3. I haven't really uploaded yet, but it would be for $5 again. But if you want, you can actually get all 3 of this template, like animated landing page, animated landing page 2, and also this new one 3 for $10 in a pack that would also be linked in the description. So it's up to you if you just want to get one for $5 or all 3 for $10. So let's start making it. I will also be linking this page. Now I haven't really changed the images and all, but when I upload it, it would be changed. If you go down, this would contain the like code and all this stuff, okay. So this code and all, and I'll explain how to customize the code to change like whatever you want. And it is also possible to make this this like lines like slanted like this or like this, so it's up to you. So let's start making by simply adding a container, and I'll make this be 100 VH. Now this container would contain all your contents. So let's just add one container, and this one would be, I'll call it content, and this one could be anything, like any text that you want to show behind the doors and all that stuff. So for now, I'll just make it, darker. I do want this to be full width because I think it would look prettier. But if you don't want, you could even like make the container be darker like this. So that way the whole background is there, but this one still stays in the box with fashion. If you want, you could even make it grow. Like it's all comes down to your styling for the content. Now, for now, I'm just going to add a text in here because again, I'm not going to show like what content you have to add in here. It's like your preference. And this one. Now let's go into our container and add our left door and right door. So first thing first, we'll just create a container. I'll place it at bottom, wherever, it doesn't matter. And I'll just call it like door. Okay. Let's go in here. Let's first give it a color. So, okay. So it's around here. Let's go to advanced, give it position absolute. And suddenly when we give position absolute, it does not take, the spacing and all in consideration. It simply beats the size of its parent container. So this is a door. If you make grow, it would not work because it does not know the sizing. So let's go to layout and let's go to minimum height, pen icon, and type 100% in here. So that would basically make this door be whatever the size of this container is. Okay, so you could see. Now in this door, we will add our text, anything that you want to add. Okay, it doesn't have to be just text, but anything. For me, I'm just going to use a text. Okay. You could add images, whatever the text type, design, what you want. Just play around with it until you like it. Let's make it, 60, I guess. So I just added this text. We open doors to new opportunities. I use like this break tag. So like open this bracket, square brackets, and add BR. That would basically create like a break tag and basically move the text below like this. It's your design choice again. Let's do 75 and then let's do 80. Okay, let's go to our tablet and let's play around with the styling until we like it. Same for the mobile. Okay, again play around with it until everything satisfies you. Now once everything is done and you like it, you need to go to this container and duplicate it. Okay, so now we got same containers twice. So one would be the left side, one would be the right side. Now I'm just going to make the second one. Let's just call it, I don't know, like door 2 for time being. And let's make the background be black. So if I hide this container, you would see that we have a same container behind, which is different color. So let's go to our container and add an HTML widget which would contain the code. And for this HTML widget to not take any space, we'll go to responsive and basically hide it. So that way it will not take any space. Even if it looks like it's taking space in here, just close it and it will not be taking any space. So let's first start by copying all of this stuff. So first we'll copy DM door wrapper, and this one will be giving to the container like this. DM door left, this one would be given to the left door, so whichever one is your left door. Then we will go to DM door right, give it to the door right. I'll call it like door R so that I know which one it is. Now let's just copy the code, and I'll also explain one more stuff which is like this code which I've hidden. So keep watching. This is just in case the code does not work for you. So let's go to HTML widget and paste it. And suddenly something happened. So first thing first, let's just try doing preview and see what happens. And you can see it is showing stuff and it is already working for me. Okay. For testing purpose, you could add some content on the top like this so that everything works, and to see if everything's working properly or not. Okay, so you can see we can scroll normally, and as soon as this reaches at top, it gets sticky, and then we can basically scroll and it opens the text behind like this. So another thing I should test before we move forward is let's add a container and see if it stops sticking after a while, after we did all the scrolling and stuff. Always do testing first, then proceed with the code. So let's go up, let's scroll down, and it stops. Okay, it stops and we go up. Now I'm going to refresh this page. I think it would actually reset everything, because when we use GSAP in Elementor, it's a bit buggy. So sometimes you have to remove the code, do the changes, and then add the code back. Okay, so it is working for me, but in case it does not, then simply just remove the code, publish, to refresh, and then basically do the changes and all that stuff. But if I hide the door R, you will see that it is actually showing more than 50%. So the reason why I did more than 50% is sometimes there's like a weird line that shows behind. So I'll explain it in a bit, but you could say it is a bit, it's not perfectly 50% space, and this one is also not taking perfectly 50%. It's just for safety, but nobody would notice it. Else, if you don't do this, then if you add whatever you add in this content or whatever you add in here, let's say if I make this red color, right, sometimes a red line would show. So if I use like both 50% perfectly, but you could totally understand like what we are doing. We're just creating two duplicate containers, and we are making people think that it's just one container, but we are cutting the left container in half and cutting the right container in half and basically showing on top of each other. That way it makes them think that it's just one container. So let's quickly copy this code in this here, and I'll explain it in a bit. Okay, so it's very basic. So this is called DM door left. So our left door has given 50% cuts and all that. If you go to this site called bennettphilly.com clippy, you can kind of understand it, how it works. So this is like showing full of the stuff, but if we move this one like around 50-50 like this, you would see this is how it looks. So when we use this clip path code, it basically only shows this area and hides this area. Okay, and for this right one, we do the opposite of it. So we do like something like this by using clip path. I already have a video on my website called clip path. For clip path, it actually uses it comes in handy like so many times, so you can watch that video. But that's what I'm basically doing. I'm cutting it left one for 50% like this, but I just copied the code from here. Okay, and for the right one, I'm doing 49.8. that way it's slightly overlapping on like top of each other. That way we do not see those weird line in the center. And what I basically do is, this is the GSAP. I already have a video on my channel. If you want to learn GSAP, you could learn it in like 1 or 1.5 hours. Okay, and it would just change your animation game completely. It's also my most viewed videos, so it's really good. But we are basically just moving the left one to to -55, and we are moving the right one to 55%. So if you want to reduce the amount of scroll that is required, you could reduce this to, let's say, 100. If you want to increase the scroll, make it 300, 350, 250, or whatever. Scrub one is just for smoothness. This one is set to 0.1. You could see this one basically means that if you set this to 0, as soon as it touches at the top, it will just start, opening. So right now you would see it does not open instantly. I have to scroll a bit. You could say I have to scroll a bit. If you make this to both 0, it means that start at the instantly start, okay? But as I'm doing 0.1, it's saying that do after 100 milliseconds or something, but in sense of scrolling like this. Again, if you watch that big video, you would be able to understand it, okay? And you could just open it. Now, one important thing, if in case this gets buggy in your project, and again, when I say buggy, make sure you clear the cache and then check after like few hours and see if it's actually messing up or not. Right now you would see something's happening, but that is simply because of my caching, okay? So if I do like refresh, it just does some weird stuff because of my caching, but it's like temporary. After delete the cache, it would just reset. But in case it doesn't reset, because sometimes this GSAP, what it does is that it is not able to figure out which is the top part, and in that case just remove the / around here. And what this basically means is that it will activate this code, and make sure you remove the / around here, and it would basically activate the code, okay? And what this means is that only load this code if the page is loaded. So remove the / from top and bottom, and what it will do is it will only run this code when the whole page has loaded, when the spinning circle stops. And it might help you to kind of wait for the images to load and all that stuff. So again, play around with which one works best for you. And if you want, you could even add the preloaders, like I have already have a video on preloader, how to make it. So let's make the vertical one. And again, you can actually check this in mobiles too. It would work perfectly. This horizontal one, this vertical one works perfectly for mobile too. The vertical one still works, but we do some tricks because it's vertical, right? So there's still space below. So let's start by making the vertical one. I'm not going to change anything in here, except we will be changing the code and some CSS classes. So if you go down in the code, you will find the second version, which is horizontal scroll reveal code. And all this needs is just 3 CSS classes, just like we used before. So this container would be given DM door wrapper 2. This one would be given DM door left 2. So this one. And this one would be given DM door right 2. And let's copy this code, paste it in this HTML, and we have to refresh it because again it's still using the previous code right now. Again, it would be like bug right now if we don't refresh the page. So let's refresh it. And we are doing nothing, but we are simply just turning this to be using like this, okay? Instead of using left to right, we are just doing that thing, and we will simply just moving up and down. But there's one more thing that we are doing, that is making it have opacity, like fading out. So for example, this works perfectly right now. You can see if I scroll, it just opens perfectly, like no changes required. The design is same, the layout is same, just the code is different. So let me copy this code. Everything is same, like I mentioned for the left to right one. Every code is same, every customization is same. This one also, instead of using X, we are doing Y this time because you want up and down. But there's one more thing, is at the end I'm making it be opacity 0, and the reason for that is simply because this hasn't refreshed. Let me refresh. The reason for that is because when we move our content left to right, it just goes outside the screen, right? So it doesn't really matter because nothing's getting rendered outside the screen. But when we move it up and down like this, it is actually moving down. So right now you can see I am doing fade around here at the end like this, because what we basically did was whatever was around here, we basically moved it below, like around here. So if I don't do fade, it would just be visible around here. And I can even show you guys by quickly I'm not making the opacity be 0. If I go down, scroll down, you'll see it is now around here. Okay, One easy fix that you could do to make it work is by giving this one uh, overflow hidden, but sometimes I found that it messes up with the scroll trigger, so play around with it if it works for you. So if you done this to be hidden, it will kind of work for you maybe, but again, I have seen it mess up a bit with using, scroll trigger sometimes and all. So I've just kept it that way so that it's just consistent. And you could see this is also working perfectly, even though we have set the opacity to be 1. So just comes down to your preference. If it works for you, just do it that way. If it doesn't, just keep the opacity option where it only fades at the end, so it's not much visible. And all the coding changes is same as what we've done before. And same, if you remove this forward slash, now this code would only run when the whole page has loaded, and this might reduce the bugs that are introduced. So yeah, that's all. Get the template. You could get all 3 for $10 or just get this one for $5. It would be called number 3. And yeah, thanks for watching. Goodbye.